R&R Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook. A half-mile paved oval. 1953, Five Flags Speedway takes its name from its proximity to Pensacola, Florida, known as the City of Five Flags, in reference to the five governments that have ruled the city: Spain, France, Great Britain, the Confederate States of America, and the United States of America. Five Flags is one of the fastest short tracks in America thanks to its 15-degree banking and wide turns that give the track a nearly circular configuration. Although the track hosted NASCAR Grand National Series action in its early days, since 1968, Five Flags has been known as the site of the annual Snowball Derby. Held each December, the Snowball Derby is considered the year's premier super late model event. Past Snowball Derby winners have included Donnie Allison, Darrell Waltrip, Rich Bickle, Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, and most recently Derek Thorne. Five Flags regular season features super late models, pro late models, super stocks, sportsmen, bombers, every other Friday night from March through October. Tonight, it's the IROC Challenge Series, Twin 125s, race number 8 and 9. It's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Five Flags Speedway for, as we mentioned, races 8 and 9. Twin 125 lap races here tonight in the IROC Challenge Series presented by RS12 Esports. Let's take a look at the race details tonight. 78-degree track temperature, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies with a 2-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temperature relatively warm as we are in the daylight hours here at 140 degrees. Warm up for the race just about wrapped up here. A few minutes remaining. Qualifying complete. Drivers have a full fuel load to work with this evening and 2 sets of tires available over the wall. No fast repairs this evening and a possibility of 3 green, white, checkered finishes if necessary. Again, only if necessary. See who's fastest in the session thus far. Kyle Terzak quickest is 17:42. Brandon Mefford 17:54. Mike Cook with a 57. Jarrett Wiedner with a 61. And Brent Butler also with a 17:61. Brian McCann just outside the top 5 with a 63. Again, just about 2 minutes, a little less than 2 minutes remain in the warm-up. We've got both stream chats for IROC TV and HBR TV up in the viewing window on our end. So if you guys want to say hey, feel free to do so. Chat us up throughout the race. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. Certainly more than welcome to have you guys here in the chat every single week. Under a minute remains in the session. Brian McCann, cross start finish. Trying to find some pace out there. Only 6 quick in the warm-up. Take a look at the practice session from earlier prior to qualifying. Turzak, Butler, Mefford, McCann, and Cook the top 5. So McCann a little bit quicker in practice versus the warm-up session we are currently in. Not totally surprising. He's out there in the early practice session trying to lay down a fast lap for qualifying. Little different strategy for the race. Got to take care of the race car, take care of the tires, just trying to get into a consistent rhythm. Less than 10 seconds before we go black and red flags. And there it is, clock at zeros. And without delay, we'll jump right into our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 17.426, it's the 051 of Kyle Turzak. Outside front row, the Charity Motorsports number 83, missed it by 56 thousandths, it's Brandon Mefford. Row number 2, it's Brian McCann and the 00 of Mike Cook. Row 3, it's the 84 of Matt Kopp, flanked by the 99 of Jarrett Wiedner. Starting in row 4, it's the 12 of Tim Schofield with Brent Butler, the number 76, starting in the 8th position. 9th goes to Garrett Johnston. 10th starter will be Josh Funkhauser, the number 81. Chris Wally, the number 51, will start 11th. Nuke Quick will start 12th. 13th starter, it's Josh Stewart in the 03. Todd Kleek will roll his number 45 from position number 14. 15th starter, it's the 9 of Adam Benefill. Doug Wysocki starts 16th. Larry Bruner, the 44, will roll from the 17th position. 18th goes to Steve Durbin. And last but not least, the number 77 of Zachary Kleek. He'll round out the field, shotgun on the field in the 19th starting position. It's your starting grid here from Five Flags. Field is parked on the front straightaway and gridded up, just about ready to roll. In fact, they're starting to roll right now. Behind the iRacing pace cars get set. 2 laps before we go to green. Field across start finish. We are on the 1 to go. So the next trip by start finish, we should be, well, driving in anger. Hopefully not too much anger. This field was significantly larger at the start of this season, and that's not to knock on anybody here. We've kind of filed things down to the cream of the crop here. 19 cars for this particular race here at Five Flags. I think it's a perfect number for these small short tracks. Barney with the green in hand, the pace car about to pull in, or is he going to go one more time around here? It looks like he may go another lap. So 1 extra lap under yellow. Make sure everybody's lined up where they need to be. Your front row will be the 051 of Kyle Turzak and the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Again, row number 2, Brian McCann and Mike Cook. There it is. Pace car is in. Green flag is in the air. And we're racing. Race number 1 is underway. Mefford out to the early lead, gets around the 051 of Kyle Turzak. Meanwhile, Brian McCann jumps up into P3, just a couple of feet off the back bumper of Turzak as they work through turns 3 and 4. Mike Cook closes the gap just a bit, so does the 99 of Wiedner. Back to start finish, lap 3 goes up on the board already, getting them done in a hurry. Meanwhile, Mefford starting to put some distance on Kyle Turzak. I don't know if Turzak is in conservation mode already, trying to take care of his stuff, but never mind that. Brian McCann all over the back bumper of the 051 as they work off turn 4. On board with Turzak, looking back at the 3 of Brian McCann. Jarrett Wiener took a look to the outside. A little bit of contact with Mike Cook. This all happening behind McCann and Turzak. McCann slips to the outside of the 051, trying to get it done up top, not wasting too much time on the bottom before he decides to make a change. Seems to pay off. Gets to the outside of Turzak, off turn number 4. Gets clear, move Brian McCann up to the 2nd position. Mike Cook's able to hold off the 99 of Wiedner for the time being. Wiedner started 6th. It's up into the top 5. Wiedner real loose off turn 4, gathers the car back up. Wiedner having a moment off turn 4 the last lap, gets through a little cleaner this time. Mike Cook trying to make a move around the outside of Kyle Turzak. This is very uncharacteristic of the 051. Usually we'll see him start on pole and just stay there almost all night long in some cases. I don't know if he's got a problem, if this just isn't his cup of tea, or if he's just being very, very aggressive in tire savings right now. We'll see if that pays off later on as Turzak slipped from the pole back to P4. Meanwhile, Mike Cook jumps up into the top 3. Josh Funkhauser in a battle currently with the 84. That's going to be Matt Kopp. Funkhauser inches ahead of the 84 off of turn number 2. Meanwhile, the 15 of Garrett Johnston tucks in behind. He's going to try and decide which way he wants to go, top or bottom. Chris Wally in 11th, just outside, sniffing on that top 10. Wants to take advantage here if these 3 cars ahead of him get together, maybe make a mistake, slow their momentum. Chris Wally there to pick up the scraps and pick up a couple of spots. Brian McCann in the IROC chat says he's pulling for the 83 of Mefford. I think he's pulling for anybody that can beat Turzak at this point. It's a bit of a rerun of Aaron Smith. The guy was just so dominant in last season's events. Aaron Smith not here this season. Kyle Turzak picking up right where Aaron Smith left off. This battle continues with Matt Kopp in the 84 working the outside. He's managed to defend against the 81 of Funkhauser, but now Johnston picks up on that cue. He said, you know what, if it worked for Kopp, maybe it'll work for me. So he's trying to get to the outside of Josh Funkhauser. Funkhauser drops it down, not all the way to the low lane, but Johnston crosses over, looking down bottom side now. Still nowhere to go. In behind them, Todd Kleek and Doug Wysocki battling for position. Wysocki, the white and green, number 34 on the bottom of the racetrack, the 45 of Kleek up top. Seems right now the top lane is the place to be if you want to get it done. Meanwhile, back out front, it's Brandon Mefford and Brian McCann. McCann has reeled in the 83. Remember, Mefford was out front by a handful of car lengths, if not more. Caution. And the caution comes out. Looks like Nuke Quick involved in this one. Slow. It looks like turn 1. 4 in trouble early here. See what happened to the 4. Put us under our first caution of the night. Quick just in behind Wysocki and Kleek. This is turns 3 and 4. Does Wysocki get a little crossed up here? Cleek was way up the racetrack out of the groove. Opened the door for Wysocki. I don't think there's any contact involved here unless Cleek comes down or Quick goes up. And there it is. A little bit of contact between the 45 and the 4. It's all it takes. Sends Quick down to the bottom of the racetrack. Quick does make contact with the inside wall here at start-finish. Just past start-finish, entry to turn 1. Again, this place is not the biggest. You're almost constantly turning the wheel at this racetrack. But quickly, 20 laps in, you're turning laps under 18 seconds. They tick by in a hurry. I'm not sure if we're going to get back to the green flag here before the stage. I think we will. So just to recap here again, stages on the twin 125s are lap 25. And then lap 65. In the twin 125 events, there will not be a caution displayed. I'm reading those rules here directly from the race admin right now. And they do differ on the standalone events of 200 laps. Those stages are lap 50 and 110. With a caution flag on the standalones. Twin 125s, 25 and 65. No caution should be thrown. So we're lined up, getting ready to go back under the green flag. Interestingly, Mefford picks the bottom here. Green flag in the air. He does have the advantage to go first, and he does that. Mike Cook gets a terrible restart. Mefford leads him down into turn number 1. Cook opens the door already to the 99 of Jared Wiedner, but Wiedner unable to keep it on the floor. Tucks back in behind the 00. Turzak now back into the 4th position as he noses out in front of the 99. They work off at turn 4. Lap 25 on the board. McCann in the 2nd position. Mefford looks like he's going to take this stage win. Across the start-finish line. That's the stage, but the caution comes out again. Still not sure why that's happening. We ran into this at the previous race where the caution came out for the stage. Twin 125s are supposed to go caution-free unless we had a crash. That could be the case. Looks like we may have had a crash. See what happened to the 81 of Funkhauser. Oh yeah, big time wreck. 4 or 5 cars involved in this one just as the stage comes to a close. The 76 ends up on his lid. That's a massive hit for Brent Butler. We'll back this up a little bit further here. See how it looked as it got underway. Coming to the end of the stage here. This just gets hooked. So we had some takers on pit lane, surprisingly enough. I don't know if it's just for fuel only. Again, 2 sets of tires available over the wall. We've still got just under 100 laps remaining. To make it simpler here, the drivers that did not pit. Your current top 4, Brian McCann, Kyle Turzak, Chris Wally, and Nuke Quick. And then in 6, Zachary Kleek. Looks like everybody else took a trip down pit lane, albeit for fuel, maybe some tire changes as well. Some longer stops. Joshua Stewart, 13.2. Matt Kopp was a 16.5, and then Mike Cook was a 21.8. Again, maybe some damage repairs involved in some of those as well. I don't get any indication as to whether they've changed tires or not. It's more of a educated guess based on how much time they spent in the box. Most of these racetracks, if you change 4 tires, you're going to lose a lap, even under caution. Non-competitive pit stops of these late model stocks. Not bringing in Cup Series crews to pit these cars, so it does take a little bit longer. The guys that work on them are the guys changing tires and putting fuel in it. So we're doubled back up. Fields in 3. Pace car lights off as we get ready for yet another restart.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. McCann maintains the top spot. Turzak has jumped back up into P2. Chris Wally is 3rd. Adam Benefield 4th. And Zach Kleek runs in the 5th spot. Big mover on the day so far. Kleek, he's up 14 positions. Having a good go of it thus far. Still plenty of racing to go. Be great if he could hang on to that top 5 or maybe even better. Adam Benefield in the 4th position, battling with Zachary Kleek. Number 77, Kleek had a moment off of turn number 4 just a moment ago. Almost lost the car, managed to hang on to it. Still got his foot down, trying to take this spot away from the 9. Checks up a bit early, wasn't sure the 9 was going to come down to the low side. Gave him some room to do so. That cost him. It slowed his momentum, opened the door for Garrett Johnston, the number 15 on the outside. And again, that seems to be the preferred place to try and set up a pass. Get around the outside of a driver, carry the momentum through the corner. 2 distinct grooves here at Five Flags, but the low side, even though it's the short way around, doesn't seem to be the fast way around. Johnston still working at 77. Kleek goes around. Caution comes out. We saw this happen a handful of laps ago where Kleek almost went around, and well, really, he almost went around here, but he went around further than he did the previous time because he was able to continue on. He locks her down here off at turn number 4. Puts us under caution number 2. 40 laps in here at Five Flags. Let's see what happened to the 77, get a better look at it. Simple as that. Not even a full spin. Yeah, pretty low entry. Then he hooks the left front in the apron. As soon as he gets back to the power, it instantly wants to come around on him. Kleek did a good job recognizing it quickly, getting it locked up, Didn't even come all the way around, but he's going to lose a ton of track position out of this. So still out front, 41 laps in. It's Brian McCann over Kyle Turzak. Chris Wally runs third. Fourth is Adam Benefill, and Garrett Johnston listed as P5. Just got a bit of a word in my ear from the race officials that Stage 1 had planned a caution. Typically in the rules it says no, but they had planned to have a caution. Nevertheless, it doesn't really matter because they got the actual caution as the field wrecked off of turn number 4 anyway. So it's kind of a moot point, but it looks like the second stage will not have a caution. So that's going to stay the same. We'll try and clear that up for the next race just to see if that's going to maintain as the same that we had this evening. We got Zach Millett, that S4 guy in the HBR TV chat. It's a little quiet on our side of things tonight. I don't know how many we got over the IROC TV. Either way, you can watch wherever you would like to watch, though. We'd love it if you'd hit the like button in both streams. That would be great. Nevertheless, we're doubled up. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
Green flag back in the air. McCann once again out to an early lead since the restart. 2 to 3 car lengths on Kyle Turzak. And keep an eye on the 051. He's won all but one race this season. Brian McCann has been second quite a few times. He's had a lot of bad luck as well. Turzak, though, not able to reel in the 3. I don't know. I've just got an uneasy feeling about the 051. Maybe he's really just playing possum or saving his stuff. I don't know what the scenario is. We know Brian McCann is fast, but man, Turzak has just been lights out this season. Chris Wally trying to fend off Garrett Johnston in the 3rd position. Johnston looking a little aggressive there in the 4th spot. Have calmed down. Zach Millett makes a point in the chat, saving those tires too early to go. Brandon Mefford, who started up towards the front here tonight, led some laps early, still running back in the 5th position. Jarrett Wiedner running in P6, right where he started, having a solid night. Very consistent, very clean, taking care of his stuff. As Zach Millett pointed out in the stream chat a moment ago, too early to push. Speaking of Zach Millett, we're going to pull him up into the broadcast booth. We had planned to have him available here, and let's see if he is. I don't know if I can unmute him or not. Doesn't look like it, so we're going to do a quick change here. Over to our own channel. Nevertheless, we'll have Zach in the booth here momentarily. And there he is, Zach Millett in the broadcast booth with us here at HBR TV. Thanks, Zach, for jumping in.
Hey, Steve, how we doing, man?
We're doing good. Just some late model stock racing, the IROC Challenge Series here. Doubleheader, twin 125 race here from Five Flags. Brian McCann still out in front.
Oh, this is a perfect track for this car, Steve.
Yeah, it really is a great place for this. We had a 19-car field to start things off. A couple of them have fallen out of the race, so 17 cars remain. A couple of them not on the lead lap. 15 cars still on the lead lap. Top 5 is Brian McCann, Kyle Terzak, Chris Wally, Garrett Johnston, and Brandon Mefford. So, Zach, you typically run these cars on Wednesday nights in the Numb Thumbs Racing League. I know it's not necessarily your cup of tea as far as short track racing is concerned, but tell us your stance on this car. You've got experience in it as far as road course side of things, and obviously halfway through the Numb Thumbs season. What's your take on this race car and the challenges these drivers have to face each and every week?
Yeah, man, these cars are a ton of fun, especially on the short tracks. They don't have the power like, say, like a Super League has. You know, you don't really have to drive it too sideways, but it really demands you to be super consistent. Every time you can hit your marks, every single turn, it'll really reward you. But you can still heat up that right front and your right rear if you get on the gas a little too soon. And it kind of looks like the 51, the old 51, is kind of saving us stuff here and finally making a run towards Brian.
Yeah, we saw Terzak. He was about 5 or 6 car lengths behind. But now he's starting to reel in the 3 here as we a couple of laps away from our stage.
See a lot of guys do that in the beginning of the race, even if they're not running up front. They just try to keep the temperature out of those right side tires. But it really does make a difference later in the run.
Terzak right there on the back bumper. Brian McCann off of turn number 4. The rear end slips out just a little bit. Quick correction, lap 65, final lap of the stage. Terzak's going to try and pick up those points. We'll see if he can get her done.
Drives it in there.
Stage 2 goes to Brian McCann again in the twin 125s. Stage 2, we will not see a caution. Drivers will continue to race. Points will be awarded. Looks like it's going to be Brian McCann, Kyle Terzak, Chris Wally, Garrett Johnston, Brandon Mefford, the top 5, Jarrett Wiedner, Mike Cook, Matt Kopp, Josh Stewart, Doug Wysocki, the top 10.
Now this is where it gets fun, Steve, where you get close to the lead car. I'm thinking he's going to swing it a little wide going into turn 1, straighten off his exit, and get a run into 3.
Both drivers seem to take a very similar line there on the exit at turn number 4. I wonder if Terzak is still just going to hang tough there in behind McCann. Take care of his stuff. So we talked about pit stops a bit before you came in here, Zach. 2 tires at most in most cases. I just don't see it really being a 4-tire opportunity, even if we get a caution. What's your take on this? You go fuel only? Do you run the whole race without tires? Right sides only? What's the best plan of action as far as you're concerned?
You know, it kind of depends on where you are in the track. You know, if you're in the second half of the field and you get an opportunity, I'd come down and take 2 tires. I don't think I would take 4. You know, I think it keeps the car a little too tight. You want those left sides worn out as much as possible. It'll loosen the car up and make you turn the left really, really quick. If you like driving a loose race car, you definitely want to keep it just like that. Boy, if you could make it without stopping, I mean, that's pretty perfect if you're out front. You know, in a perfect world, I'd rather not stop, keep my tires cool, and stay out front.
We'll see if that comes to fruition. The drivers did have 2 sets of tires to work with tonight, but a full 100% fuel load. Some drivers did stop early. First sign of a caution, they came down and topped off just to try to get off cycle with some of these drivers. But right now, the top 3 have yet to visit pit road. It's Brian McCann, Kyle Terzak, and Chris Wally. Expect to see that here relatively soon if we continue to run laps under the green flag. We're going to take our one and only HBR TV side-by-side break. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Well, we're back a little bit early. We saw, I think, Adam Benefiel in the 9 go around. He's still around. We haven't had a caution yet. Now he backs it into the Jersey barrier in the infield, trying to get looped around without bringing out the yellow as the leaders just go on by. Brian McCann still out in front of Kyle Terzak as we work lap 85. Benefiel coming to pit lane. I don't know if this was a planned stop to pit road or if he just had a problem. He's going to come down anyway. So right side tire change under green. Very interesting.
Yeah, this is going to cost him, Steve. It's just going to be way too much time on pit road.
It's a shame. Adam was running up into the top 4 there for a while. He's going to do 4 tires on this. Just, I don't know. He might be just frustrated with the handling on the thing. Obviously, he spun the car out. I don't know if that was trying to get to pit lane, but let's See if we can get a look at that and see how this happened here. The 9 of Adam Benefield just a few moments ago while we were in commercial. Yeah, he was coming to pit road. He just got down to the flat and it went around on him.
Heck of a job to stay down there off the racing surface, though, and keep it under green.
Yeah.
You know, I think he left.
Ryan McCann's view.
I think he might have just, forgot to uncheck the tires, because it is a long time on pit road with 4 tires.
Oh.
That's tight.
I tell you, Brian McCann had a code brown there, I think.
Yep, a little bit of a panic.
So when the 9 got into that wall, we're 3 wide. The 9 got into the wall. It looked like he was going to shoot back up the racetrack in front of the leaders. He was able to keep it down in the bottom. Brian McCann, though, still out in front of Kyle Turzak. Turzak put some pressure on near the end of the stage, but wasn't able to get around or even alongside Brian McCann. Still a car length off the back bumper as we're coming to 30 laps to go.
Now, Steve, in your opinion, what do you think go time is? You think 20 to go? You think 15 to go?
I mean, it depends. It's kind of hard to say without being in the race car, feeling what it's doing. Where do I have grip? Where is the car struggling? I think this long run, we've been under the green for quite some time now. If it's struggling handling-wise, if it's sliding the nose, you almost can't. You kind of got to take what you got there in P2. I mean, if anybody can do it, though, it's Kyle Turzak, but it looks like he slid the nose there off of turn number 2. Lost a little bit of ground to Brian McCann. I don't know. I think you give it a shot here, maybe with 10 to go, and you see what you can come up with. If you can't get it done in a couple of laps, you kind of just fall on the sword and take the second place. They got a pretty good lead on Brandon Mefford in P3, so they don't need to worry too much about him reeling them in unless they get to side-by-side battling for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I'm thinking, to catch him is one thing, to pass, to set up a pass just takes several laps anyway. It's going to be tough. I see the 051 getting a little bit of apron there in the turn. I'm thinking that's because he's a little tight. I should actually help him rotate a little bit, but boy, it's sketchy.
We got Cody Dean in the stream chat checking in, says, not much grip down there. I think he was talking about Adam Benefield in the 9.
That is for sure.
Tell you though, when you unload the suspension, get the left sides on the flat there, like you were saying earlier, Zach, it really wants to rotate. Never mind the fact there's no grip. And McCann's checking out though. And at the same token, Turzak, he knows that after this race, the field gets inverted. I think it's only like the top 10 or top 12. I have to go back and double check, but they do invert the top finishing drivers, and then everybody else behind them, their starting position is based on their finishing position in this race. We'll set up a new session. It won't take too long, and we'll be ready to rock for race number 2 pretty quickly after this one.
Now that is pretty cool. That makes it very interesting. I'm excited to see that.
Meanwhile, Brian McCann really stretching his legs here. 1.3 seconds on Turzak. Brandon Mefford running in the 3rd spot, unchallenged for the time being. Garrett Johnston maintaining his 4th position. Jarrett Wiedner, again, a couple of car lengths back in P5. He's got no challengers. Closest battle we got on the racetrack is this right here. Position number 6, Josh Stewart and Mike Cook. Mike in the 00, Stewart in the 03. And Turzak's going to come to pit road. Lap 100. Now, I think you know as well as anybody, Zach, Turzak's going to come out like a cannonball as soon as this one's over with. He's going to just lay down qualifying laps from here to the finish.
Yeah, it's going to be quite different. He's going to be rolling for sure. Right sides at least. I'm thinking that's all it's going to be, though. Yes, sir.
Right side tire change for Turzak. He heads back out. Cody Dean in the chat again says, Larry Mack usually has the info on the average lap the last caution flies. I'd be coming for 4 Hoosiers and send it. Well, the problem is, and we mentioned this early in the broadcast, non-competitive pit stops, at least team-wise. The pit crews, same guys that wrench on the race car, they're not hiring cup teams to come out here. So if you take 4 tires, even under caution, you're going to lose a lap. So right side's likely all it's going to be. Even when the yellows fly, they'll put right sides on, then go around, get caught up, and then come back down for lefts, just to make sure they stay on the lead lap. But really with these Hoosiers, and Zach, you can attest to this too, they kind of wear like iron. And as you get them kind of worn in, they almost get better in some cases. Has that kind of been your experience? I know some tracks it's really not the case, but a lot of times it is.
Yeah, I got to tell you, these things wear totally different from anything else in the sim. It's strange. It seems like it's all about temperature instead of the wear. You could be down 50%, and as long as you had enough caution laps, keep that temp down, you get under green, it feels like they're brand new again.
Now, as we watch this race unfold, you see there's a lot of rubber landing of the outside, top part of the racetrack out of the groove. The marbles, as they call it. What does that do to the race car when you run those over, especially when you've got the hot tires? Does it really mess you up for a couple of laps?
Oh, absolutely. It's scary. It seems like the next 2 laps are just, it's like a skating rink. It's pretty scary, especially when you're, beside another car. It's just completely unpredictable.
So far, so good. Brian McCann, the last driver on the racetrack to not be on pit lane. Working through some lap traffic. Doug Wysocki giving plenty of room to the 3. Laps winding down here from 5 flags. Top 6, the only cars on the lead lap currently. Even Kyle Turzak back in the 8th position. He's not on the lead lap, so caution right now would kind of be a coffin nail for the 051. Granted, as soon as I say that, he gets up into the 7th position, becomes the first car 1 lap down, so he would get back on the lead lap.
I'm thinking his stop down pit lane was really good timing. It kind of forced a few other guys to come down and follow him.
But with, I don't know, about 16 laps remaining here, Brian McCann still hasn't come down for a pit stop. I got to wonder, has he got this mathed out that he can go all the way to the end? I can't imagine Turzak would have pit if he didn't have to. You see the pace, though, those new right side tires. He gets right by McCann, gets the lap back the old-fashioned way. So does Brandon Mefford.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be some kind of strategy with the inverted restart as well. I'm just trying to understand it.
Now, again, keeping in mind that Kyle Turzak has won every race this season with the exception of 1.
Yeah, I'd say I trust the strategy.
Turzak listed in P6. And there it is. Brian McCann peels off middle of 3 and 4, hits pit road. I don't know, Zach. Does he take tires here or does he just go fuel only?
With the amount of time that he lost staying out for so long compared to the other guys, I don't know. I think your only play is to gas and go and get moving, but...
No, he's going to put rights on.
I think it's going to be the same play, just right sides and go, though. We'll see how much track time he lost out there.
Drops the jack for right side tires and fuel. McCann drops back to the 8th position. Brandon Mefford inherits the top spot. And McCann's not on the lead lap anymore. So 11 laps to go. I think Turzak might have him figured out. Mefford's been pretty quick. He's your race leader currently. He made his last pit stop at lap 27. Might be good to go to the end. Think about Brian McCann went, well, up until right now before he pit the first time. I think Mefford might be good to go. Which is who Brian McCann was cheering for anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're Brian McCann right now, your one goal is to get to the lucky dog spot as quick as possible.
Top 4 are the only lead lap drivers currently. Brandon Mefford, Joshua Stewart, Josh Funkhauser, Kyle Turzak. P5 is Jarrett Wiedner 1 lap down. Brian McCann just jumping into the 6th spot. He's 1 lap down. We've got less than 8 laps to go. Mefford's got to keep working at this, though. He's only got about a 1 second, not even a 1 second advantage over second place. That's Josh Stewart. Chris Wally and Jarrett Wiedner get to the inside. They're going to get their laps back, it looks like, at least one of them.
It looks like Brian McCann made his way back to the Lucky Dog canopy. So good work by him there.
5 laps to go. We got a comment in the IROC TV chat. Brent Butler, who's either in this race or was. Yeah, he was in this race. Says they're not running out of fuel. They're blowing right front tires.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, melting that right front. 4 laps to go. Stewart's closed in. He's right there. Not even half a car length off the back bumper of Brandon Mefford. Interestingly,
about a half a lane up there. He's going to get a better run off, but boy.
3 laps to go. Stewart's there, but he pit about lap 19 versus Mefford's lap 27. I think Mefford may have taken 4 on his stop. I don't know if it was the lap traffic that allowed Stewart to reel the 83 in, but here comes Brian McCann. He's going to work around the outside, take his lap back. 2 laps to go.
There's the difference in tires, folks. No comparison.
I mean, you almost, hindsight's 20/20, but you look back, you almost think Brian McCann, as soon as Terzak pit, he should have come down and pit with him.
Yeah.
Because he lost a lot of time out of the track. White flag in the air, final lap, race number 1. Brandon Mefford still with the race lead. Drivers still trying to get their lap back, working around the outside of Brandon Mefford. That's Doug Wysocki. Checkered flag. Brandon Mefford wins it. Brandon Mefford, your winner with race number 1. Second place, Josh Funkhauser. Kyle Terzak battled back to finish 3rd. Zach, I'm going to jump over to IROC, see if we can get an interview with Mefford, Funkhauser, and Terzak, and we'll be back shortly.
Copy that.
Brandon Mefford celebrating here on the front straightaway. Yeah, we'll see if we can get Brandon Mefford and Josh Funkhauser and Kyle Terzak into the interview room. And we'll start with the 83 of Brandon Mefford. Brandon, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Brandon, congratulations, man. A strong run tonight. You were quick from the get-go. Then you slid back a little bit through some pit strategy. At the end of this thing, you get back out in front. You take the race win. Finally, a new face in victory lane here. Race number 1 in the books. It's Brandon Mefford. Walk us through your race, the strategies you had to employ. How much work did you put into this race this week?
If I'm being honest, I hadn't turned a lap until we opened practice session today.
Well, fair enough. You got 125 laps in the books so far. It certainly gives you good preparation for race number 2 this evening. Anything going to be different for you as far as your strategy play? I know a little bit of an inversion here is going to make things a little different for you.
I think everybody learned right there that we got to save tires. I think Terzak knew that early on, so he let me have the lead there on the front or at the start. and I noticed right away he was saving tires. So when that first caution came out, or the break, I knew I had to come and get tires. So I didn't realize I needed to save them that hard. Dadgum, but I came across start finish line and got a meat bulk for my tires. So we wore them out tonight. Great job by everybody.
Now we'll see how it goes in race number 2. Maybe some cooler track temperatures that may help things a bit, but wish you the best of luck in the next race. Brandon, who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, Steve, thanks for the broadcast. Missed you. Miss being up here talking to you in the front. And thanks to everybody that puts on the IROC League, all the sponsors. I'm wore out right now. I can't think of who everybody is, but Chris Wally and his group. And then, thanks to all my guys over at Charity Motorsports. Shout out to my guys at Chaos Motorsports who I play around with here and there. But all of our charities, and I'm going to do my best. Plan on seeing you up here again in another 125 laps, Steve.
All right, Brandon, we're looking forward to it, man. Nice job.
Thanks.
It's Brandon Mefford, your race winner here in the first race of the evening. Next, we're going to pull Josh Funkhauser up into the broadcast booth and get a word with our second place finisher. Josh Funkhauser at Steve with HBR TV. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Josh, congratulations, man. We'll make it somewhat brief, but tell us about your race. What did it take to get up there and finish in the second position here tonight?
I really honestly think I just got lucky. I got tires, 4 tires early on. I was in the back I was kind of caught up in that first wreck, so I grabbed 4 tires early on, and then we stayed green, and that kind of helped me work my way up to the front. It seemed like everybody else had to go in. And just Brandon just barely eked it out. I almost got him.
Well, Josh, again, an awesome run. Congratulations on that second place finish. Inversion for race number 2. What's your strategy coming into that one?
Gosh, just survive. Just survive. It's slippery out there. Just going to try to stay alive.
All right, Josh. Congratulations once again, man. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Oh, I thank my partner in crime on my Discord channel, Mike, for talking me through it.
All right, Josh. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck in the next one.
All right, thanks.
Next, we're going to pull Kyle Terzak up into the broadcast booth and get a word with third place in race number 1. Kyle, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Kyle, congratulations, man. A third place finish. I know that's certainly not what you're used to in this league, but it seems like you had a strategy to start, knowing that tires might be an issue here tonight. Was that kind of the plan, take care of that right front for the better half of this race?
Yeah, I just tried to save really, really hard right there, and with about, I don't know, laps 50 or 60, I decided to push for like 10 laps and get to Brian's back bumper. So when I did that, I realized that we had to save even more, so I backed off, and by then my right front was already gone. So I just basically just sat back there, saved as much as I can, and then the last 10 laps went the hardest I can, and then pitted. I felt like if the lap cars weren't in the way, we had that, but it happens. It's racing. But I didn't expect when I came in here 140 track temp. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, it was a hot one for race 1. We'll see what race 2 gives us. But Kyle, either way, congratulations. A strong run here tonight. Who do you want to thank before I let you go?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for the broadcast, Chris for putting this up, all the league sponsors, and the Sub Shop.
All right, Kyle. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck in the next race.
Thank you.
It's Kyle Terzak, your third place finisher here from Five Flags Speedway. We're going to jump out and get a break out of the way before we get to our second race of the evening. Stay with us. There's going to be another race coming up very shortly. I'd say give it 5-10 minutes max, but stay with us right here at HBR TV. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
R&R Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook. Back at Five Flags Speedway, final warm-up just about complete here at the Speedway before we get into our second race of the evening, race number 9 of the season. Jarrett Wiedner is the fastest thus far. I want to make a note here. You see it on the right side of your screen. Track temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 59 degrees cooler than it was in race number 1. That is a massive difference, and you can see it in the lap time. Zach Millett pointing it out to us. Almost a full second faster than we ran in the last race. We'll see what qualifying is not going to be an issue because that's based on the first race, but lap times could be better in the race. We're also likely to see a little bit less right front tire failures. We saw a lot of guys having issues with that, including our race winner, Brandon Mefford, who had a right front tire go down as he crossed the checkered flag at the end of that race. Back into the race info for this evening. Again, twin 125 races. Race 1 already in the books. Brandon Mefford wins that one. 78 degrees the current temperature here at the racetrack. 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, barely any breeze at 2 miles per hour. And again, as we mentioned, track temperature about 81 to 82 degrees. Driver still with a full 100% fuel load and 2 sets of tires over the wall to work with. Again, I don't anticipate many drivers going with 4 sets. Granted, we did see quite a few drivers burn up that right front. See if that is or is not an issue here this evening.
Yeah, this will be a lot better, Steve. I think the racing will be a lot better too because of it.
So let me ask you this, Zach. In a case where you've got a hot racetrack and you're at a track that is notorious for burning up the right front, how do you combat that as a driver? We saw Kyle Turzak almost have that one figured out. Took care of the right front pretty well throughout the race. But what is the method? What's the best way to get that done?
It's hard and it does, change track to track. But, I mean, you see some of these guys going into turn 1 pretty hot, taking a wide entry. That will burn up your tire. You're going a longer way around the track. Each lap's going to be a little longer than if you just keep it on the bottom side. And it might be a little slower on the bottom. People will probably be passing you, but you're going to keep the life and the heat out of that right front because the hotter you get it, the faster it wears.
So some would argue, too, that running the bottom would wear that right front out more premature because, it's shorter. You're not turning as long, but you're turning harder. You got more wheel into the race car. Is that kind of true at some places as well?
It could. I think it depends on how hot you get into it. If you throw it in there and turn the wheel at 9 o'clock and expect it to turn, you're going to be, chopping it right off. But if you check up a little bit, just slow it down and concentrate on your exit, you could save a lot of tire.
You saw Chris Wally have a big rack off of turn 4. That would have been a life ender in real life. That was a big one.
Definitely.
We are just in the sim, though, as the warm-up comes to a conclusion. We'll get right into our starting grid here momentarily. Hopefully it populates correctly. It's been a little wonky lately. But there you have it. Grid procedure in, ready to go. Let's take a look at it. On the pole position after the invert, the 4 of Nuke Quick. Outside front row, it's the number 76 of Brent Butler. Starting in row 2, the 34, Charity Motorsports Machine of Doug Wysocki. To his right elbow, it's the 99 of Jarrett Wiedner. Watch that number 99 tonight. He was fast in race number 1. We'll see if he can back it up here tonight. Kyle Turzak, the 051, finished 3rd in race number 1. He's going to start in 5th position. Brandon Mefford will roll from position number 6, our winner from the first race. Starting 7th, the 03 of Josh Stewart. He was breathing down Mefford's neck there late. 8th will be Chris Wally. Starting in the 9th position will be Adam Benefill. 10th goes to Matt Cobb. Brian McCann will start in the 11th position. Timmy Schofield in the 12th will start 12th. 13 starter, it's the 45 of Todd Kleek, with Zachary Kleek starting to his outside, the number 77. Mike Cook, the 00, will start 15th. Josh Funkhauser, 16th. Larry Bruner will roll off from the 17th position, and Garrett Johnston, shotgun on the field in 18th. Field begins to roll. Well, Zach, we haven't done this in a while. Who's your pick tonight?
Oh man, I was afraid you were going to do that. Oh man, well, you're giving me the first pick there. I got to go with Kyle Terzak. You know, the way he was saving his tire, I know he was holding back some speed. I think we're going to see everything he's got this one. And I know it's a pretty safe guess here with his record this season, Steve. But first one, I got to come out strong.
Well, you definitely took my pick, but I gave it to you first, so I'm going to back it up here. I'm going to say Brandon Mefford sweeps the night. He's going to take race number 2 as well.
Good deal, good deal, good pick.
His car is in. Green flag is in the air. We're racing race number 2 from Five Flags. Quick out to the early lead over the 00 of Mike Cook. Terzak getting washed down into the 9th position. He was 5th at the start, 3 wide into turn 3. Brian McCann in the middle, Kleek up top. They get it filed back down, double file. I don't know. I know Terzak's going to want to try and save his stuff here tonight in this race number 2, but the conditions couldn't be more different than they were from race number 1. 140-degree track temp, now down to about 81 degrees. I don't know, Terzak might not need to be as conservative in this one as he was in the first.
You see some massive checkup at times here. You know, people trying to get everything they can get right off this restart.
Still watching McCann. McCann goes way up the racetrack.
Ooh, maybe too high. Got those marbles we were talking about earlier.
Well, luckily the track has been cleaned off a bit from race number 1, so a little bit cleaner surface up top. If it weren't for that, I think McCann would have been in more trouble than he was. He has switched it up now to the inside of Brandon Mefford, in behind the 51 of Terzak. Meanwhile, out front, Duke Quick, still your race leader over Mike Cook. About 5, 6, 7 car lengths back to the 00. Chris Wally, same story. He's in 3rd for now. Garrett Johnston taking a peek to the inside. He's going to take that 3rd spot. Well, maybe if he can get clear off of turn number 4. Not quite. Now he's clear. Now, Wally's going to drive it back to the outside, though. I think Johnson will have it off of turn number 2. Jarrett Wiedner now to the inside. The thing about Kyle Terzak, he's already back into that 6th position. A little bit of contact, though, with the 9 of Adam Benefill.
A moment.
Definitely a moment for Terzak. That's just it, though. We were just trying to talk about that. Is if he has anything go wrong, he stays at it. Nose to the grindstone. Usually recovers awfully quick, and he's done just that.
Field starting to spread out just a little bit.
And you know, we're seeing more of that this time than we did in the first race. The field stayed packed up a little more than they have at this point. My guess is that's more related to track temperature right now more than anything. Drivers trying to settle in. I mean, what's your experience in that, Zach? When the track changes temperature significantly from one day to the next, I know you don't experience it too much when you're in a practice session because you can kind of set that stuff up yourself. but how does the car change? How does the handling change when you go from a super hot and slick racetrack to a nice and cool, it builds a lot of speed? What does it do? How does it handle? Is it more loose? Is it more tight? Is it a combination? Or is it just gripped up?
You know, it's different every time. You know, it's some tracks are you know, it's a little looser, it's a little easier to drive. Some tracks are just way tighter. It's just a complete roll of the dice. We've had that in the past with some league races where you practice, you know, 3-4 times at a certain temp, and you get to the actual session and it's completely different, and it's like starting over. It's like all the practice you did was for nothing.
Yeah, it does happen. I mean, seat time is seat time, even if it doesn't necessarily match up with the race. But you see the battle of the 51s here. The 051 Turzak to the inside of Chris Wally off of turn number 4. Almost some contact. If not, there might have been some contact on entry to turn 3. It's minimal at best. Both drivers driving it off of turn number 2 now into 3. Turzak takes the position away, move the 051 into the top 5.
Good job by Chris Wally to squeeze Kyle down as much as possible without making contact, and actually really good job squeezing into back into line there to not lose more positions.
Turzak already up 8 positions from qualifying, or from the starting position for that matter. Still out front. Newt Quick with the race lead, but now he's got a challenger in the form of the 00 of Mike Cook. Now we saw in race number 1, the outside was really the place that you wanted to get to try and get by somebody. It can be done on the inside, but it's not as successful. You see it right there. Quick closes the door on entry to turn 1.
It's just so hard to keep the speed up off the corner, keep the momentum up when you're coming around that top side. It almost feels like 5 miles an hour faster.
A view to the inside of the office of Newt Quick as he leads this race. Still 20 laps complete. Hot on his trail. 00 of Mike Cook. Real hard turn into turn number 3 there. I thought Quick was going to go around.
There's a run right here, Steve.
Mike Cook looking to the inside. I think Quick may have the run out of the corner here. I can hear the tires screaming. Battle for the race lead. The 00 Mike Cook on the bottom. Newt Quick up top. And Garrett Johnston just loving the fact these guys are fighting.
I was going to say everybody behind these two guys are loving this.
Back to the flag stand. Mike Cook, new leader, lap 23. Battle for second now. Johnston to the inside of Newt Quick. Seems like the line has changed up a bit. Again, we saw that in race number 1. The outside was the dominant line. Now the bottom seems to be working. Quick may have just burned up his stuff a little too early as he's starting to slide back. You talked about it in the first race there, Zach. Tire temperature, your worst enemy when it comes to these race cars.
Yeah, and I mean, Steve, it's really early. It's lap 25. We've got 100 laps to go in this.
Mike Cook with the race lead. Just got to complete this one, and he'll take the stage win. Again, the caution, I think it may come out this time. I'm not sure if that's going to remain the case. I know typically it's not supposed to, but across the stripe, Mike Cook's going to win the stage. And there it is. There is the caution.
I know, man. I think I need to start putting like an age limit on.
You were saying this was the only caution for a stage?
Well, we'll get back to it. Yeah, kind of. There's different rules for the stage cautions in the 125ers versus the 200 lappers. The 125ers aren't supposed to get a caution for the stages. For this particular event, the admins did plan on a lap 25 caution for the stage nevertheless. We'll see if Mike comes down pit road, and if he does not, we're going to hit him up here for an interview. There he is. He's going to come down pit road.
Yeah, I think this is the right play.
So, Zach, I am going to jump over to IROC here. We're going to get a word with our stage winner as soon as he completes his pit stop. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with me.
Copy.
Mike Cook taking 4 tires on this pit stop. He's going to lose some track position, but he's going to be good to go. Mike and Steve in the HBR TV booth, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Mike, congratulations, man. A strong run, late pass for the race lead and the stage win here. Tell us about the race car and the decision to take 4 tires during this break.
Man, it was like a totally different car there. I knew I was pushing very hard on that first stint there. I wanted to get the stage win, so I wore the heck out of my tires. I'm heavy on my tires anyway.
You know, in the first race, from the right front was the problem child, so to speak. Is that seemingly the same situation tonight?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It looks like I still ran it pretty hard. Crew chief saying about 3/4 of the way left.
All right, Mike. Well, a nice job here for stage number 1. Good luck the rest of the way, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's Mike Cook, your stage winner. Interestingly enough, he did take 4 tires on that pit stop. Maybe race number 1's got these guys a little bit gun shy. Not 100% sure.
What are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know, Steve. I feel like, after 25, 26 laps, your left sides are probably still, 97, 98%. I just think it's worth taking 2 and keeping that track position.
Well, unless, he's got the mindset of maybe, all right, track's cool. He takes the 4 tires now. He's going to restart, I think, about 7th. But maybe I don't think he's going to stop again. This might be his last stop. Mefford,
yeah, if we stay green, I think that's the play. Stay out.
If I remember correctly, in that first race, Brandon Mefford his last and only pit stop was lap 27. Of course, he melted the right front at the finish. But again, track temperature much cooler right now than it was. I think this might be the right call. We've waved off the restart a couple of times here, just trying to get everybody where they belong. Certainly one thing I got to commend IROC for. They are very big on getting it right versus being fast about it. That's a good thing. I'd rather the lineup be what it needs to be, get everybody in line, doubled up the way they need to be, rather than just say, oh, forget it, we'll just go back to green. Sometimes you do see that, but IROC runs it well. Interestingly enough, of course, Chris Wally, a NASCAR official himself, so he's accustomed to these types of things, making sure that the league runs right, too. That's a plus.
Green.
Green back in the air. Chris Wally leads them to start-finish line. We're back racing once again. Just like that, battle for the race lead. Chris Wally checks up. I don't know if he had a problem off of 4, but Terzak goes to the point. Brian McCann follows him through. So it's Terzak, McCann, and Wally in 3rd.
And just like that, Steve, here's the battle in reverse order for us to enjoy.
Exactly. 35 laps complete here from Five Flags. Kyle Terzak out in front for pretty much the first time this evening. I don't think he led a lap in that first race. He certainly got one led now, but he's got Brian McCann hot on his trail. This is where we're going to find out if Terzak was taking care of his stuff a little too much in race number 1 or if he's got something in reserve. But man, Brian McCann's right there, breathing down the neck of the 051 as they work off of 4. On board with Brian McCann as he runs in the 2nd spot. Chris Wally is caught up to the 3 of Brian McCann. Remember, Wally was the leader at the restart. I think he may have just given the top 2 spots to these guys, knowing that they're that much faster, but also keeping in mind that Chris Wally did not pit during that caution. In fact, he's the only driver on the racetrack that hasn't made a pit stop yet.
Yeah, so he's going to want to save his stuff at least a little bit to make it last probably the rest of this race.
Well, I don't know. We talked about the play for Mike Cook taking 4 tires during that caution. If Wally gets another caution, and there it is, Wally's going to take tires now. I think he's going to bolt on 4 as well. That's going to give him a little bit of an advantage over those that decided they were going to take 4 at this most recent time. We've still got some cars here. Adam Benefil and I think maybe Josh Funkhauser.
Yeah, this is pretty good timing for Chris Wally. You know, he's going to have enough time to make a run back to the front, too.
Yeah, without a doubt. We'll have to see if Chris pits here. Let's take a look at the replay here, see what happened. Oh, big time pile up in 4. Wow. Stewart, Wysocki, Funkhauser, Benefil, Cleek, Bruner, and Nuke Quick. These guys are wrecking, trying to get away from the wreck.
Just wrecks on wrecks.
And honestly, a wreck to that magnitude, that's going to help Wally more. I don't know if he's going to pit or not. Looks like he may have stayed out. That just puts more guys towards the back. And again, remember, no fast repair in the IROC Challenge Series. These guys have to fix it the old-fashioned way or just drive it the way that it is. Benefil's going to pit, and Wally's going to stay out, it looks like. Yes, he is.
Surprised with that.
Well, I am, but I'm not. You know, as we were just talking about it prior to the yellow coming out, I was saying that if Chris gets another caution here, it would be wise to come down and take those tires then. You know, the closer and the longer we run, of course, the closer to the end of the race that we get. If you can bolt those tires on, maybe even chance it and take 4, just stay out of the minutia and the wrecks and the chaos that can happen in the mid-pack and further. Wally could be in a good position for a solid finish here tonight. I think he still needs to bank on 1 more yellow. But of course, guys out in front of him can opt to do the same. Lights on the pace car are still on. So a couple more laps here, we should go back to green. Top 5 currently, it's Kyle Turzak, Brian McCann, Chris Wally, Brent Butler, who had a terrible race number 1, solidly in the top 5 right now. Matt Kopp runs 5th. Garrett Johnston 6th. Brandon Mefford, race 1's winner, he runs 7th. Jarrett Wiedner in 8th. Mike Cook, stage 1 winner, is 9th, and 10th is Todd Cleek. There it is, pace car lights out, so we're on the 1 to go. Turzak and McCann going to lead him down. Turzak takes the bottom lane. And pace car is in. Brent Butler hounding the 51 of Chris Wally for the 3rd spot. Loses a little bit of ground off of turn number 4. Wally drives it down into turns 1 and 2. Still a car length, maybe a car length and a half over the 76 as they work the back straightaway. Mike Cook battling with Jarrett Wiedner, the 00 and the 99. Wiedner gets on by. Now Todd Cleek working on 00. Takes a peek to the inside. Nothing available there just yet. Zach, when you've got pace on a guy that might be very similarly paced as you in front of you. What is the best strategy to try and make that pass and get it to stick? Is it just try to run where they're not, go to the more dominant line? What's the plan of attack when you're trying to take a position away from a guy that's very similar in pace?
It's one of the toughest things to run behind somebody and try to plan a pass and stay quick, because you need to be pretty quick to get alongside of someone that's pretty close to your pace. The best way I kind of try to do it is to just picture them not even being there. I try to just make that car invisible, hit my marks. And that's another thing, is when you're behind a car like these cars, specifically, it's hard to see around that car. It just takes up so much of your vision that it's hard to hit your marks. So if you could just kind of pretend that car isn't there, it's the best way to do it, but then, not get the back into it. It's a catch-22.
There's no wrong way to do it if it works. At the end of the day, you do what you got to do. As we continue to watch this battle here, the top 5 cars all very close together. You can even make an argument the top 8 are all really in close contention here. But the top 5, you can pretty much throw a giant tarp over all 5 of them at this point. Turzak in front of McCann and Wally. That's your top 3 as they jump to Josh Stewart here. I think that's a lap car. Yep. Stewart pulls down to the bottom, lets the field go by.
Just kind of nose to tail lap logging mode here, it looks like.
About 5 laps shy of halfway. We'll stick with it for now, and after the halfway point, we'll jump to an HBR TV side-by-side break. I tell you, I know we're at Five Flag Speedway, but man, this looks an awful lot like the second stage of the Daytona 500 did a week ago.
Yeah, these guys are ripping around this little track.
Even on old tires, though, they're still running pretty fast laps. Turzak at 16.94, McCann at 95, Wally at 94, and Wally's on the old tires still. So I wonder if Turzak's still saving his stuff and it's keeping the field in line like this, because I feel like he could drop the hammer here, and him and McCann could put some distance on these guys if they wanted to. I think they're being conservative about it right now.
Yeah, I think they're driving smart, Steve. I think that's exactly what they're doing.
Especially when you look at the consistency of the lap times between the top 5. They're all within half a tenth. Turzak maintaining about a car length, maybe a little bit less on Brian McCann, and you see it now. McCann's starting to put some distance on Chris Wally. These guys are picking up the pace just a little bit. Granted, they all did run pretty similar lap times yet again. 63 laps in here from Five Flag Speedway. We are past halfway. We're going to jump out, get an HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Five Flags Speedway, 50 laps to go. Coming to 49 laps to go as Terzak continues to lead over Brian McCann, Brent Butler, Garrett Johnston, and Brandon Mefford freshly cracking the top 5. Terzak's in command, certainly got the most laps led to this point, but man, McCann is right there, ready to pounce at the slightest mistake that we typically don't see out of Terzak. Time will tell. Zach, during the break, we were talking about how difficult it can be to pass at some of these short tracks. We saw that the tire advantage in race number 1 was pretty significant as far as lap times were concerned, but with the reduced track temperature here, 59 degrees cooler at the start of the race compared to the first race, might have taken that second lane away just a bit. A lot of single file action here throughout the latter half of this race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if that other lane comes back, here late in this race with people trying to find a way around the guy ahead of them. If it doesn't, we might start seeing that bumper get in some use.
I know Brian McCann certainly tired of looking at the bumper of the 051 of Kyle Terzak, but I think Ric Flair said it best. If you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, and right now, Kyle Terzak, he's the man. Surprised I didn't get a woo out of you on that one.
I was going to sneak it in there before you said what he said, because after you said Ric Flair, that's all that came to mind, honestly.
New Quick going to hit pit road here.
Ooh, he's got some damage on it.
The Ford machine a little worse for wear. Remember, he was involved in that big pile up turn number 4. He's capped at it. Let's see if this is just a fuel or a tire stop. Brent Butler said earlier that fuel likely not the issue, more tires than anything. Right side's going on the 4 of New Quick.
Yeah, he might have had some wheel damage or something, maybe getting some worse wear on that thing, maybe some toe in and out.
Quick rejoins the pack. Shown as the 15th position, 2 laps down. Terzak and McCann starting to stretch their legs over the third-place machine of Brent Butler. This is kind of what we said early on. We kind of expected that if these guys needed to, they could hammer down and put some distance between themselves and the rest of the field. But here we are. We're getting closer to crunch time. 86 laps complete of 125.
Yeah, we were seeing those lap times, the last 20 or 30 laps hovering around like the 17.1, maybe set, a high 17.0. But we're just dropping into the 16s here. Most of these laps, these top 2 are starting to put a little go pedal in it.
And last time by is 17.03 for Terzak and a 17 flat for Brian McCann. So tires starting to go away for these guys. Talk about Chris Wally back in the 9th position. He is likely in desperate need of a pit stop here. Did not take tires, did not pit at all for that matter. With only 12 cars on the lead lap, I think he'd be itching to take those tires. I'd be curious to see if the other drivers that made their pit stops previously, if they stay out, or they take an opportunity to get that second set.
Boy, it'd be great timing, Steve. They're running, if I remember, 16 4s and 5s in practice on those brand new tires. I'd love to have some brand new freshers right now for the finale of this thing.
Tell you impressively though, Terzak just ran a 16.9. Of course, he backs it up with a 17.04, and then McCann runs a 16.9.
Game on.
Punch and counter punch. Yeah, Terzak is using every inch of this racetrack. You saw him; he's about taking the decals off the left side of the car, getting into turn 1. 45 a Cleek, going to get in the way of the leaders here for a moment. Stays up the racetrack into turn 1, but exit of turn 4 was a little hairy for the top 2. Jarrett Wiener just leaving the pits. 12.1 second stop. Todd Cleek down pit lane.
Makes you wonder, Steve, are we having right front problems again?
I mean, I know the track's a lot cooler than it was in that first race, but We've been under the green for quite a while. I think we had a little more yellows to break things up in the previous race. I don't know. You might have guys in trouble with that right front before this one's over. I think some of these guys are conscious of that and trying to get after it before it becomes an issue, but I don't know. Guys with a lot of experience in this late model stock, they may stay out. They may know exactly how far they can go on that tire. Some guys have put in a lot of practice throughout the course of the week.
It might get interesting here towards the end here, watching these front two guys, you know, put a little more speed into it. They might be burning up their stuff.
Larry Bruner, lap car in the middle of the top two for just a moment. Allows Terzak to put a car length, an additional car length on the 3 of Brian McCann.
Oh, that ruins your rhythm too, Steve. But look at this. Is it the 9 car with fresh tires here?
This is the 99 of Jarrett Wiedner. He's the 12th place machine, but yes, he is right in behind. But this would be a good litmus test here to see the difference in fresh tires versus old. Wiedner was fast in that first race earlier this evening, so he's got pace to begin with, but we'll have to see how it looks. Wiedner to the inside of Brian McCann. I think McCann's smart enough to let him go.
Yeah, you want him to get by as quick as possible and maybe chase down Kyle here as quicker than possible.
Wiedner, I would imagine, just took the right size with the 12.1 second stop. There's no way they're going to bang out 4 tires in that amount of time. It's typically 22 to 25 seconds, depending on how clean you get into that pit stop. Interestingly enough, the fastest lap of the race right now belongs to the 00 of Mike Cook. Fast lap of 16:59. Only driver dipping it down below 16:6. McCann now, he's about 4 car lengths behind Terzak here with less than 25 laps to go. What do you think the real issue here with Brian is at this point? Is he burned up his stuff? Is he trying to cool down his stuff for a late run?
I don't know, it's hard to tell. It almost looked like he had a little bit of a run at him about 10 laps ago, but here comes some pit stops.
I think this might be the answer to your question about those right front tire issues. Brandon Mefford, of course, very fast in that first race. Blew the right front as he crossed the checkered flag. Garrett Johnston also in the pits. He's got the right sides in the air. Mefford with the right sides only. 2-tire stop for both drivers. They get back in the action here with about 20 laps to go.
Now, let me tell you, Steve, if you're Brian McCann and you think you have to pit before the end of this, I'd be pitting right now. I'd try to short pit Kyle as quick as possible and maybe make up some track position and get out ahead of him.
I think that's really the key, because you watched that happen in that first race. We talked about it too. If McCann had made the pit stop at the exact same time that Terzak did, I know they were on a different strategy, but if he had come down at the same time, I think we would have seen a bigger battle between those two.
I mean, it's perfect timing right now too, because Terzak's starting to get in some lap traffic. It might hold him up just enough. If you can get in your pit road as quick as possible, you could take the lead.
You know, that said as well, I mean, if McCann gets back out there, if he makes a pit stop with fresh tires, even if he's got lap traffic, those new tires allow you to have some options when you're trying to cut through that lap traffic, go high, go low, whatever the case may be. If you got hot, worn out tires, that becomes a little bit more of a challenge. You shed lap time. But, I don't know, maybe they think they can go all the way to the end. They made a pit stop at lap 27. They're on the same strategy.
It is a tough call to make, you know. If it stays green and you can make it without blowing your right front, I mean, there's kind of a no-brainer. Stay out. But, boy, if a caution comes out, it's going to get really interesting.
Chris Wally's finally had enough. Coming to pit lane here for his tires that he so desperately wants. But that's the answer to the question. 112 laps on a set of tires. That's how far he went.
Yeah, he's ready. That was a good run by Chris.
I still think he's going rights only.
Oh, definitely.
Yep, there it is. And I'm going to guess here, Wally may have made that pit stop out of necessity rather than choice. He may have lost that right front tire. Unfortunately, I don't have any data to display that, but...
So the difference being 25 more laps than the other guys that have not hit yet. He should be able to make this if they didn't burn through it quicker.
Yeah, these guys are pretty spot on about taking care of their stuff, though. I mean, a 98-lap run with a caution mixed in there, I think they're going to be okay.
And that's the thing, you know, in iRacing, you get your warning down around 50%. You know, the crew chief pipes up and says, you know, you better start taking care of it. But, you know, from that point to a meatball, it happens quick and it's sudden. You know, there's almost no way to know. You'll feel a little bit more of a wheel shake, you know, right before the meatball, but that's about it.
Well, I mean, to me, it almost sounds like by the time that crew chief goes, hey, gotta save me some tire here, I think it's almost too late. You gotta take care of that tire. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. I've been out of the seat for a little while, but my experience was you got to take care of the tire in the first 10 or 15 laps. That's going to dictate how that tire behaves and responds and how it wears out throughout the course of the run. If you don't do that, you're going to be in trouble in the latter stages if it stays green.
Absolutely. I've learned that through a lot of these league races that your first 20 laps is pretty key. It's pretty paramount to how those tires are going to wear.
8 laps to go. We've got 4 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Terzak, Brian McCann, Brent Butler, and Matt Kopp. Kopp started 4th. He runs 4th. Brent Butler, our biggest mover on the day. He's up 15 positions, started almost last. Terzak starting to cut through some lap traffic. Not the case with the 00 of Mike Cook. Cook's on fresh rubber. Running back in the 9th position, still not on the lead lap. Might have got 1 lap back there. Brian McCann not able to keep pace with Terzak here late in this run. 2.6 seconds the advantage for the 051. Checking on Brandon Mefford here, runs in the 6th position. Unfortunately for Brandon, though, he is not on the lead lap either. Might be down 2 laps, actually. Gets to the inside of the 3rd place machine of Brent Butler. Garrett Johnston's going to follow him through. I think Garrett's got fresh tires, too. Mefford moves himself up into the 5th spot. Terzak through 3 and 4 here. Going to look for the white flag.
Well, it answers our question. A heck of a job by these guys.
Terzak started 13th here tonight, finished 3rd in the first race, but he's been dominant here tonight. A couple of more corners, and he'll take the win here at 5 Flags. That Kopp awfully slow, but that's all right. It's not going to make a difference. Kyle Terzak takes the checkered flag here from 5 Flags, race number 2 in the books. Terzak, your race winner. Brian McCann comes home as the runner-up. Brent Butler finishes in the 3rd position. Terzak's just going to park it in the pits here. No, park it on the checkered flag in the pits. Didn't stay there very long, but that's okay. We're going to step aside here, get our break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
R&R Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook. Back at Five Flags Speedway, the Twin 125 event in the books. We've got a new top three: Kyle Terzak, Brian McCann, and Brent Butler. Three brand new drivers to the top three, with the exception of Terzak. Terzak takes the checkered flag, finished third in the first race. But let's see if we can get a word with our race winner, the driver of the 051, Kyle Terzak. Kyle, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Kyle, congratulations here. You had to start near the back here. I think it was 13th after the inversion. Did not take very long to get up towards the front. Saw a little bit of contact as you worked your way through the mid-pack of the field. What was that all about? Did you have some contact? Any damage to the race car? It certainly seemed pretty quick there after the fact.
Yeah, you know, that was sort of the race right there. It's just all about who can get up to the front fastest. And, you know, I just chose where I want the, slower car. I want to say slower, but where I wanted the cars and picked them off one by one. And by that stage right there, I was committed to pitting right there and staying out the entire time. And we did that right there, and I feel like that really helped us right there because, people took four, and I only took two, and I was the first one off pit road. And me and Chris made some contact. We were just racing each other. I pitched him down, and we were just coming up, and he was coming up faster than I was. But yeah, that was a hectic race. I thought that we would have to pit right there, but judging by my tire wear, definitely not.
So tire wear was certainly the topic of conversation in the first race of the evening, but 59 degrees cooler in this race certainly seemed to help things. Was there any doubt in your mind you were going to make it all the way to the end without having to pit?
Yeah, as soon as we got that lap 25 caution, I just calculated how much we burned a lap and how much I need to save and everything. And my tires at the end were actually pretty good. We were 44 on the right front and 71 on the right rear. So we saved a bunch right there in front of McCann, and he tried to peek his nose a couple times. And that's when I jumped the gun and started going.
Well, worked out in the end. You take yet another checkered flag here tonight. Next week, though, we switch things up. We take these late model stocks and do something a little bit different with them. Take them to a road course. We're going to be in Charlotte Motor Speedway on the Roval. You've got plenty of pace here in these ovals and these late models. How do you do on a road course?
You know what? I don't run officials road course that often, but when I do, I'm really fast, especially at Roval. So I never raced this thing here, so this is gonna be interesting. So I feel like that if I put enough practice in it, which I probably will, because I never ran a late model on a road course, and I feel like I got a pretty good shot if I can just get locked in and do some practice.
Well, for those that enjoy road course racing to any extent, we put on a league last season with this car specifically, and it was just road courses, and man, it is a blast to drive. You can really attack the corners with it. It should be fun. If you enjoy it, you're going to enjoy next week. We certainly look forward to that. With that said, go ahead, Kyle.
I was just going to say that it seems fun. Actually, that's the main reason why I joined, because I want to run these on road courses.
Well, Kyle, either way, a strong run here tonight. Yet another victory in the books. Who do you want to thank before we let you get out of here?
Yeah, I want to thank you for the broadcast, Chris for putting this on, all the league sponsors, and for Zine Sub Shops. I'm going to say this until I die, really. They have done everything for me, from setups to paint schemes to everything. I mean, they're just the best.
All right, Kyle. Well, again, congratulations. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week at the Roval.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's Kyle Turzak, your race winner here in race number 2 from Five Flags. Next, we're going to talk to Brian McCann and get a word with our runner-up. Brian, it's Steve in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Hey, I do.
Brian, congratulations, man. I know you're probably getting tired looking at the back bumper of that 051, but a strong run tonight. Really impressive in this second race, especially. You guys were all nose to tail in the top 5 for a significant portion of the race. It wasn't until later on Turzak was able to drive away. What was the handling issue on the 3? Did the right front start to go away there late?
Oh, yeah, that right front turned to jello. I thought I was saving, and apparently I wasn't. And I didn't change any of the wheel settings or anything else I had dialed in from last race, but this race was completely different. And I know you've been talking about that 50-degree difference, and that showed its ugly face there at the end of that race. My tire was shot.
So as far as that 50-degree difference is concerned, obviously a lot cooler. The lap times come down and things get a little bit faster, but you would think, at least the mindset, the cooler temperatures might kind of let tire last a little bit longer than the previous race. What is it that lured you into that? Was the fact that you had the handling for a while and then it went away, or what was the situation there?
Yeah, I think that was probably the case. Being right behind Kyle and then Wally behind us for a long time, putting pressure on us, and there was a few times where I was getting a little worried and that I was going to get passed from third place. So I started ramping it up a little bit, and I didn't really set up a pass on Kyle, but I don't know if he recognized what I was doing or what, but he started to take off. So he was pretty much in control there, and you know, he could save his stuff while I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to do, focusing on people behind me and trying to set up a pass. So that combined with the mindset of, yeah, it's cooler, so I'm going to use a little bit more. Well, it turned out that wasn't really the case.
Well, next week things change up a bit. We're going to go left and right at the Charlotte Roval. Turzak says he doesn't run a whole lot of officials on road courses, but he does enjoy them. We know you're pretty good on road courses yourself. You got a shot at taking this guy down next week?
I haven't seen him drive on road, so I don't know. I'm decent in these cars. What, didn't you beat me in the league that we did in these on road?
Brian, I'm trying to talk you up here.
I'm trying to give you some points here. I'm pretty sure you came in first or second, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't remember.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, we're gonna go there and give it all we got. I'm gonna try to get my brother in there. He's the road course master, so hopefully he can come in there and show Kyle.
Well, Brian, we're certainly excited for it. You know how I am with the road courses. That's going to be a fun one for us for sure. Again, congratulations on a strong second place once again, man. Who do you want to thank?
Yeah, man, my family, you for doing the broadcast, league admin, race control, amazing job. Drivers for showing up and giving us a great race here. Everybody watching tonight and our sponsors, thank you.
All right, Brian, we'll talk to you next week, man. Second place, Brian McCann. Looking forward to the Charlotte Roval. I don't know, don't let him fool you. He talks it like, I'm okay on road courses now. Brian McCann is tough on road courses. Again, we talked about it with Kyle Turzak in the league that we ran with No Bull with these cars. He is stout, so it should be a fun one to watch next week, him and Kyle Turzak battling out, and maybe somebody else who's got some road course background. We'll see how it plays out. But next, we're going to talk to third place finisher Brent Butler, the driver of the number 76, and get a word with our third place finisher. Brent, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Brent, congratulations, man. A third place run after starting back in the 18th position. Dead last here tonight. Walk us through your race. What was the plan of attack coming into it, trying to go from worst to first? Unfortunately, just a third place finish, but pretty stout. Walk us through it.
Basically, I knew with that stage caution, I knew I needed to go as fast as I could, make up as many positions as I could until the stage, and then pit and save my tires. So it looked like everybody that took 2 tires ended up pretty close to up front, and that's pretty well the strategy I wanted.
Well, it worked out for you. Top 3 finish here. Race number 2 at 5 Flags. Race 1 didn't go so great for you, so great recovery. We move into next week at the Charlotte Roval. The top 2 guys, they're pretty decent on road courses. At least they think so. How do you fare on the tracks where we have to turn right as well as left?
Normally endurance races I do okay on the road courses, but as far as outright speed, I kind of struggle on road courses. But we'll see how these things go. Never drove on a road course, so excited.
Certainly looking forward to it. Brent, congratulations again. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
Just everybody that runs this league. You know, they do a good job. Everything was super easy to get set up and get going, and it all looks great, and you do a great job with the stream, so thank you.
All right, Brent. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thanks.
Brent Butler, your third place finisher here from 5 Flags Speedway. That's going to do our interview portion of tonight's broadcast. So let's take a peek at the race results, the official race results, as it were. Of course, Kyle Turzak, your race winner here. Brian McCann was second. Brent Butler came home in the 3rd position. Then it was Matt Kopp. My pick, Brandon Meffert, finished in the 5th position. Nice job, Zach, picking Turzak to win it. Had to steal my pick to do it, but
I did. I had to sneak in there and grab him.
Garrett Johnston finished in the 6th position. Doug Wysocki was 7th. Jarrett Wiedner was 8th. Mike Cook finished in the 9th spot. Larry Bruner was 10th. Timmy Schofield was the 11th place finisher. Nuke Quick finished 12th. 13th was Chris Wally. Todd Kleek finished in the 14th spot. Zachary Kleek was 15th. Josh Funkhauser, 16th. He was in the top 3 in that first race. And Josh Stewart, 17th. Adam Benefield, the number 9 machine, finishes in the 18th spot. 82, last down. Well, Zach, thanks for joining us here tonight. Appreciate you being up here in the booth. What's your first race of the season here with us at IROC? What's your take on the first 2 races that you've been able to call here in the IROC Challenge Series?
Yeah, I kind of started on a lucky night here and got a 2-for-1 special, but, you know, it really couldn't have been any better, Steve. We had 2 completely different races. You know, temperature really played a huge role in this, and the tire wear made it very interesting. So, yeah, man, if the races are like this, if I'm not working, I'll be here.
Well, and they build it tonight as the twin 125s because you got 2 races and 125 laps apiece, but they certainly were not identical. Fraternal twins at best. Very different races from race 1 to race 2. And again, same race car, same track, same lap count, same rules. But man, that tire temperature or that track temperature, the biggest variable tonight, and it made a very, very big difference. You saw a lot of guys running single file for an extended period of time. I think everybody out there was saving that right front tire, just kind of concerned, a little apprehensive, knowing that first race was so much hotter. They didn't want to burn the right front off completely and have a problem. And it went well. I mean, we got the second race in I think 40 minutes, and it was all done. A lot of green flag action here tonight. Unfortunate for Brian McCann, wasn't able to reel in Turzak to take that race win, but still a solid second place. What are your thoughts going into the Charlotte Roval next week? I know you love racing these stock car style cars, whether it's a truck or the next gen or whatever you can put yourself in, but NASCAR style on road courses. That's what we're doing next week in the Charlotte Roval. What are you looking forward to most out there?
Oh man, I'm getting some Noble Can-Am flashbacks for the Roval. That's man, these cars are so much fun on a road course. You know, whipping left and right. These guys are going to have a blast. It's going to be obvious who puts the practice in. You know, who's going to get out there and be the most comfortable, because it's not just about the raw pace on those road courses. You know, if you can hit your marks every single lap, it's going to show.
Well, certainly going to be a battle between Kyle Turzak and Brian McCann. Obviously, those guys are fast on oval, but when you get guys with that much talent, they're good no matter where we go. I mean, it may not necessarily be their forte to be good on road courses, but you see it even in real life, in NASCAR. You got back in the day, you'd have the road course ringers come in, and they'd make the good old boys look bad. Well, over time, those guys go to work, they figure it out, they've got talent to drive a race car. It's just a matter of changing up the discipline, and all the guys out there, they figure it out too. So we'll see if there's more than just Kyle Turzak or Brian McCann that are fending for that top step next week at the Charlotte Roval. So with that, we're going to step out here. We're going to call it a night here. Congratulations to Kyle Turzak on another dominant performance here this evening. Didn't win both races, but certainly got race 2 in the books. If you guys haven't already done so, please check us out on the website, hbrtv1.com. Click the live tab prior to that night's race, and you should have a live link stream to YouTube right on the webpage. We put it up a little bit late tonight, but we did get it there before we went live this evening. Also, if you watch the stream tonight and you haven't already clicked the thumbs up, please click that like button. It helps us in more ways than you can imagine. It's free to do. That's the best part about it, but it does expose the stream to some fresh eyeballs that may not necessarily get to watch it or choose to watch it because they don't know about it. So this helps spread the enjoyment, not only HBR TV, but IROC TV and then the IROC Challenge Series as a whole. It's a win across the board. It's the trifecta, if you will. With that, Zach, thanks for joining me in the booth here tonight. Certainly a better broadcast when I can bring you up here. Appreciate the assistance, and we look forward to next week. Congratulations to Kyle Turzak. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.